David Goggins' self-published book, Can't Hurt Me, is one of the best-selling memoirs of all time. After more than a year on Amazon's most sold book list and nearly 100,000 five-star reviews on Audible, we decided to take a closer look at what's made this book such a massive success. If you've ever thought about writing a book, this video will show you the key ingredients of a mega bestseller. My name is Charlie Hone. I'm an author myself, and I've advised hundreds of authors on how to market their books. The mission of this YouTube channel is to help you write your book, so be sure to subscribe if you need help getting your book done. Number 1, become the book. As founder of AngelList Naval Ravikant said, to write a great book, you must first become the book. What made David's book so great was that he was the book. Long before he became the toughest man on the planet, David Goggins described himself as a failure. He started his career as a 300-pound overweight exterminator who didn't like who he was and didn't take care of himself. The turning point was seeing a commercial for the Navy SEALs, which led David to getting in the best shape of his life through a tremendous amount of struggle. Long before he wrote Can't Hurt Me, David had established that nothing could hurt him, earning him the title, the toughest man alive. David's feats of overcoming struggle became the stuff of legend. Here are just a few of his many amazing accomplishments. He became the only person in Navy SEAL history to do Hell Week 3 times in 1 year. He became an ultra-endurance athlete, where in his very first running event, he ran 101 miles in 19 hours. He broke the world pull-ups record, completing 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours. David became the embodiment of struggle, of pushing through the pain by callousing his mind, ultimately allowing him to live up to his higher potential.
You have to learn and have control over your own thoughts. And I started to learn how to do this. Versus making a negative, I made a negative a positive.
This is very different from most self-help authors.
My name is Matt Foley, and I am a motivational speaker.
Who preach a strong message about how to live, but don't actually live it themselves. Here's Joe Rogan talking about the hypocrisy of self-help authors who don't live up to their message.
I've read a lot of self-help books, and I've listened to a lot of self-help books on tape too, and there's some of them that I have to shut off. I have to shut off a quarter way, and I feel like someone's lying to me. I just like, you're bullshitting me. You're just saying things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to become a motivator. Right. I'm going to be a personal influencer. Right. I'm going to be that guy that goes out there and tells people, you can optimize your life. Here's how you do it. And there's so many of those guys out there.
Right. Yeah, that's not me, man. And that's what I hope people understand. Your life and the journey you put yourself through, there's nothing more than that.
What is the book you have in you right now? What journey have you completed that other people are struggling with? That's the book you can write. Number 2, tell the whole truth. One of the most unique traits of David's writing is his brutal honesty.
"Don't hit my mom," I yelled. He tossed me to the ground, stalked toward me, belt in hand, then turned toward my mother. "You're raising a gangster," he said, half smiling. I curled into a ball when he started swinging his belt at me.
David had a truly, truly horrible childhood, and he wrote very, very honestly about it. If that honesty hadn't been in there, the book is nothing.
That's Hal Clifford, David's editor for Can't Hurt Me and the editor-in-chief for Scribe, the company that David hired to self-publish his book. Hal joined us to break down why telling the whole truth is so powerful in books.
One of my favorite memoirs is Wild, and Cheryl Strayed did the same thing. She wrote about her heroin addiction in a really raw way. She wrote about sexual desire in a really honest way, where she clearly was like, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I'm going to write this because it's my truth. And that's why those books are so good. In both those cases, Cheryl Strayed hikes the Pacific Trail. David goes and does these amazing physical feats of endurance. There certainly is an armature that makes their stories interesting, but what makes them work is that deep, deep honesty.
Even though David's life had many dark moments, he didn't hide them from his readers. He shared his whole truth, which is what makes his book great.
One of our most vital tasks in life is telling the true story of our own lives.
That's Tucker Max, the 3-time #1 New York Times bestselling author. He attributes the success of his books to telling the whole truth about his life.
You don't get to choose your past, but you do get to decide what your past means. And that is what I believe true freedom is.
The thing you are most afraid to write about is the thing you have to write about. If you don't want to write about it, if you don't want to talk about it, if you don't want to stand in that truth, then you are shying away from the thing that makes your book most powerful.
What is the deep truth you could share from your life that would help people who are just like you? What is the story you are most afraid to tell, but that you know would set you free? That's the book you can write. Number 3, make people champions of your message. As stories about David's incredible feats began to spread, more and more people took notice. One of them was Jesse Itzler, the co-founder of Marquis Jet and one of the partners of Zico Coconut Water. After witnessing Goggins perform at a 24-hour ultra marathon, Jesse called and hired Goggins to live with him in his house for a month. Jesse was the first major champion of David's message on the importance of struggle.
When Goggins lived with me, his rule was we had to do something every day that sucked. That was his rule.
He's the master at that.
Yeah, tell me about it. And
what did he make you do?
I remember one day I was sitting on the couch and in Connecticut where I was living at the time, and on the ticker on the TV, the emergency broadcast system came up. Stay inside, freezing rain, icy conditions, high winds, stay inside. It was like beeping, stay inside. And Goggins was like, this is amazing, man. Let's go for a run.
After Jesse Itzler, it was Joe Rogan who became the next big champion of David's message. Joe Rogan, of course, has one of the biggest podcasts in the world with nearly 200 million monthly downloads. And when David's book came out, Joe endorsed Can't Hurt Me to his millions of listeners. Here's the testimonial that made David's book an instant bestseller.
Boom, and we're live. David Goggins, your book is fucking fantastic, man. This has been my running partner. The audio version of it has been my running partner for the last week. It's fucking amazing, man.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I first learned about the power of having champions of your message while I was working with Tim Ferriss on the #1 New York Times bestseller, The 4-Hour Body. What made the book spread like wildfire was its built-in marketing power. Every chapter of the book could physically transform the reader in a short period of time. In order to write a great book, you must give your readers a compelling reason to champion your message. Your book should offer them a recipe for transformation or a compelling story they want to share.
This is one of my favorite books. I love this guy, David Goggins.
Or a new way of life that they can brag to their friends about.
The thing that I think is going to happen with this book is people are going to get it. They're going to get a hold of it, whether it's an audiobook or the book, and they're going to recommend it, and then it's going to spread like wildfire.
If you want more advice on making people champions for your book, check out my free article on how to sell 1 million copies of your nonfiction book. The link is in the description below. To sum up, here are the 3 ingredients you need to write a great book. Number 1, become the book. Be the embodiment of your message so people see you're the real deal. Number 2, tell the whole truth. What you're most afraid to say is your most powerful truth. Number 3, make people champions of your message. Give them a recipe for transformation, or stories they want to share, or a way of life they can brag about. If you like this video, leave a comment below and tell us what book you want to write, whether it's a story from your life or wisdom you want to share. And also be sure to sign up for our next free book writing workshop at scribebookschool.com. We've helped over 20,000 people get started on their books, and we want to help you do the same. Thanks for watching.